I'm here to, as you mentioned, to present the, it's actually on behalf of our team, the University Food Environment Assessment Tool and process to benchmark the healthiness, equity and environmental sustainability of food environments in tertiary education settings and its implementation in 9 Australian universities. So I was really pleased to hear in the introduction that some of you have already applied the tool. So apologies if you've heard all this before, but I'll just keep going. So first, I'll just give you a bit of background. I'm sure you're all aware in terms of the characteristics of contemporary food environments have a major influence on both population diets and sustainability, and an influence on environmental sustainability. So a key driver of unhealthy foods and unhealthy diets and high levels of diet-related disease is unhealthy food environments that are dominated by highly accessible, relatively cheap and heavily promoted unhealthy foods. The current food systems contribute to over 1/3 of the emitted man-made greenhouse gases, climate change, biodiversity loss, land degradation, depletion of freshwater resources and water contamination. So with that, the university campuses are a complex food environment catering to diverse communities. But campus food environments typically include a large number and a wide range of food retail outlets, vending machines, student residences, food provision and catering services, food cooperatives, institutional and student-run events, promotional activities. I mean, there's a lot there that cater to and influence the food choices of a large number of students and staff. University food environments are an important setting to target as part of efforts to improve population diets, just because there's so many students. I mean, they cater to over 1.4 million students with a further, I think, like 260,000 full-time equivalent employees. So it's a real opportunity. So globally, there has been an increased interest in monitoring actions to create healthy, equitable and environmentally sustainable food systems. And monitoring and benchmarking food environments can increase accountability for action by facilitating engagement with decision makers, identifying and communicating recommended actions, and basically highlighting priority areas for change. So with that in mind, our aim was to assess the extent to which universities in Australia are creating healthy, equitable and sustainable campus food environments, and to identify practical actions to improve university policies and practices in this area. So we developed the Uni-Food Tool, and it was developed by a national expert working group, which consisted of public health researchers, health promotion practitioners and food retail professionals. The tool is based on global recommendations of good practice and the best available evidence tailored to the Australian context. And it was developed as part of Informers, which, if you're not familiar, it's a global network. It's active in over 65 countries that aims to strengthen accountability by monitoring actions to create healthier food environments. The Uni-Food Tool, it's designed to assess the extent of policy and practice implementation at a particular university, taking into account attributes such as comprehensiveness, quality and reach, and to help universities interested in improving their food environments to conduct a self-assessment to identify opportunities for improvement and to monitor their progress. The tool can also be used to facilitate benchmarking of food environments across the university sector to increase accountability and stimulate action. The tool consists of 68 indicators, so it's comprehensive. Just jump back. It's comprehensive. It's got 68 indicators and it's across these 3 domains. So we've got food retail outlets, university systems and governance, and campus facilities and environment. So just a little bit about the process of implementation. It was modelled on the process that was developed by Informers. The application of the tool was designed for self-assessment by universities and support was provided. Then data collection for each university was collected and cross-checked to ensure data collection was complete and substantiated by evidence. So things like relevant university documents and photo evidence of the relevant campus environment. And then a maximum score of 10 points is allocated for each indicator, where university policy and practice implementation aligns with a best practice statement. Indicators are grouped within subdomains and domains, and they're weighted by domain weightings to allocate a component score, and that's expressed by percentage. And then the components are also weighted by component weightings to derive an overall score. So you get a nice little score at the end for each university. We had 9 universities complete the assessment, which is great. And at the end of this presentation, I'll give you some detail. If you're a university and you're keen and you'd like to know more, you can always join and be join the 9 that have already implemented it. So once you go through the process, a summary report is prepared for each university. The report includes, it's basically a scorecard on how the university performed in each domain, and it highlights areas of strength and recommendations for action. The report, with those 9 universities, the report was shared with key staff members at the university. And of course, the report can be used as an advocacy tool, and it provides a knowledge base of best practice, of good practice. Universities that have participated in the audit so far have found the audit to be really valuable for the university and for the staff and students involved in the audit. So here we've got some overall results. University scores ranged from 27 out of 100 to 66. Monash University, well done, was the highest scoring university overall with 66. And Macquarie and Western University received the lowest overall score. We found that universities were taking positive steps towards addressing food-related environmental impacts. However, they lacked comprehensive policies and practices to promote the availability and affordability of healthy and sustainable foods. Here we've got some areas of strength. So all universities had strategies in place to address environmental impact concerns. So, for example, waste and recycling, or food packaging and servingware, water use and energy and emissions. And the majority of universities had initiatives in place to develop staff and student skills and awareness around healthy and sustainable food. So, for example, community gardens, nutrition counselling, which was great. Some universities had negotiated contracts with vending machines suppliers to ensure healthy food is promoted. Within each component, indicators are further categorised into 16 domains and 42 subdomains. So it covered a lot of ground. So here we've just got a good practice example within the university systems and governance component. And that was University of Sydney with their sustainability strategy. And then within the next component, the campus facilities and environment component, we have a good practice example from Monash University with their healthy vending procedure. And then with the other component here, the food retail, we've got a good practice example. And in this one, catering refers to all foods and drinks provided at functions and events such as training courses, meetings, workshops, seminars, conferences, forums, or classes. So the whole gamut there. So that's another good practice example. And then lastly, the food retail outlets component. And I'm pleased to say that Deakin did really well here. So here's a good practice with their food charter, which is great. And here with some priority recommendations. So which is great for the universities. Just you know, it identified gaps and gave them, with this report, a really great, really nice, concise detail moving forward, some areas that they could focus on. So here's some examples here of some recommendations. The tool can be used also for advocacy, so it's useful in that regard as well. And just in terms of next steps, really stronger action is needed to improve Australian university food environments, including food retail outlets, you know, vending, catering and events. So really we see the next steps are for more universities to conduct the assessment, and also to explore other possible areas of assessment. So we really sort of anticipate that the transferability of these methods to other complex food environments. So things, I mean, really you could do food courts, schools, hospitals, you know, high street shopping areas. So we sort of see those as the next steps. Yeah, food courts. I think maybe I'm up for time. So if you'd like to apply the tool at your university, you can do so. We've got a website, the Uni-Food. The Uni-Food details are available on the Refresh website, and I think there should be a link there in the chat, hopefully. And I've got the lead is Gary Sachs. So if you've got any actual questions, you feel free to give him an email. And thanks for your time. I'll just stop sharing.
Thank you, Oriana.